Hello, Bushe. Hello, Bushe. Hello, Bushe. Hello, Bushe. Give me. Give me. Hello. Hello. Hello, Bushe. Hello, Bushe.
Sorry, patting getting get. Sorry, patting getting get.
Hello, Bushe.
So I give so much. So I give so much. Okay, right again. Okay, right again.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I know. Sorry. Okay, I know. So Salomon.
Even if I open my screen, you can see video. Or
Just open it now.
yeah. Yeah. These things, the speeches that are popping up, or chats that are popping up, or chats that is disturbing me. Okay. No, that's fine then. No, that's fine. Do I have to have the video on, or can I just do the speech? Or can I just do the speech?
I know video on. It's up to you.
Oh, it's up to me. Then I don't like video. Then I don't like video on then. I don't like video on then. Then if I don't have video on, then it's perfect. Then I can just read. Just read. Just read. Oh, thank you, Rajif. Let me do this one and then we'll. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry?
You didn't start it.
No.
You didn't start it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Oh no, come on, I did say Morning, colleagues. Welcome to today's event.
Welcome to today's event.
Please bear with us.
Please bear with us.
We will start shortly.
We just
Finalizing some few technical issues, but we won't start later than 10 past 9.
10 past 9.
We will start shortly. Thank you.
We will start shortly. Thank you.
Morning once again, colleagues.
We are ready to start.
My name is
My name is
Manager for Employment.
Welcome to today's session.
Welcome to today's
But I have
session.
my
DCM,
Mrs. Kim Makatini,
who would do the official opening
for me just to welcome
and just open the session. This is the International Women's Day 2021. Global theme for this year is
challenge.
choose to challenge. As women, we are saying, we choose to challenge we choose to challenge some barriers that we are facing as women. And I'm glad today we have esteemed female leaders who will be able to be with us in this platform and have meaningful conversation. And I'm hoping that we would take great lesson as women for us to move forward in some of the issues. I want to do the formal greeting to our panelists, to our panelists, Mrs. Kim Makatini, our DCM, for corporate human capital, and I would like to send a special greeting to our chairperson of governance and human capital committee. Thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you so much. You always with us in women empowerment and I would like to again and say good morning to Councillor Katibeng, our executive mayor, Epolokwane municipality, and the president of SARCA. Welcome and thank you so much for agreeing to our invitation. We thank you and we're looking forward to your great message for today. And I would also like to greet our guest as well, uSiqolile Ngcobo, Western Provincial Manager for Gender Equality. Welcome, Miss. We thank you so much ukuthi ube nathi nawe nangalolu suku. And I would like to welcome again uLindiwe Rakgaribo, umphathi wami, our Chief Executive Officer for Durban ICC. Again, we are looking forward to hear more from your side, especially in women in leadership positions. What role can we play in those boardrooms, whereby maybe sometimes we find few of us in those chairs, but what is it that had made you to survive and still surviving in those circumstances? And I would like to send a special greeting again to Zanele Sithole, our own woman senior person. She will share her story as a female, but not as a female only, but as a female that is differently abled. So we're looking forward to Zanele to share with us what are the issues, challenges, what are even opportunities, because at times it's not only that we face challenges, but some situations they make us to grab some opportunities. I heard that, but she would explain herself. She started here as a trainee and now she's a senior task person at Electricity. We are very grateful for that growth and development from her side, and we are looking to other disabled employees as well, grabbing those opportunities and claiming their seats in senior positions. And lastly, in our program, we have our own acting head, human capital, Ubaba Uregim Kize, who will do the reflection and vote of thanks. And we thank him again as a leader of HR to show some commitment in women empowerment. And we will be joined by Usnetemba Kumalo, our sign language interpreter, because we have realized as the city that it's not only about diversity, recognizing differences, but we need to include individuals. We have taken a challenge and an initiative to say these sessions we need to include sign language interpreters. So after each speaker, she would do the sign language interpretation to make sure that we include everyone in the city to hear this message, today's message. This is one of the initiatives that the city has committed to work towards for this year. Not only for this year, we have started this so 5 years back, or even back as far as back as that. It's just that we've been doing it face to face and physically, and now with technology and COVID-19 regulations, we are doing it visually. And I don't want to steal the show. I'm just the facilitator. I will allow Mrs. Makatini to do the official opening and the purpose of the day. Thank you. Over to you, DCM.
Thank you, Buhle. Forgive me, there's so much noise outside here, and I'm not sure if you can hear it. A very good morning to all leadership present. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Kim, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. A very good morning to all leadership present, honorable councillors, esteemed guests, heads of departments, and fellow colleagues, all protocol observed. Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of the Corporate and HR Cluster, I welcome you all to our International Women's Day webinar. It's my humble honor to welcome you all and to explain the purpose of the day. To begin with, this year's theme for International Women's Day 2021 is Choose to Challenge. And one of our speakers will be speaking around this topic entitled Choose to Challenge Gender Bias and Inequality. Before I explain the theme of International Women's Day 2021, please allow me to share some background information on International Women's Day. International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, and cultural achievements of women. And to commemorate this jewel of the day, the city continues to unite and encourage women to celebrate their sacrifices, strengths, wisdom, intelligence. I really could go on listing the wonders of women, but in a nutshell, today we are here to celebrate each other, to celebrate our brain and brawn in the workplace. We are sisters to each other, mothers, daughters, and friends. We must be guardians to each other in the workplace. It is true, we are sisters keepers, as it has been coined. I have no doubt that although this is a virtual celebration, our love and respect for each other will be felt and it will grow in the workplace. Worldwide, on this day, people come together to celebrate women's achievements, especially around women's equality. Marked annually on March the 8th, International Women's Day is one of the most important days of the year to celebrate women's achievements, to raise awareness about women's equality, lobby for accelerated gender parity. The world has witnessed a significant change and attitude shift when it comes to women's equality and emancipation. With more women in the boardroom, greater equality in legislative rights, and an increased critical mass of women's visibility, women are making history. We are role models in every aspect of life. However, women have not gained true equality. The unfortunate fact is that women are still not paid equally to their male counterparts. Women are still not present in equal numbers in business or politics, and globally, women's education, health, and the violence against the fairer sex is worse than that of men. But it's all not gloom and doom. While the struggle is real and the struggle continues, the women of yesterday have created a path for future generations to succeed in. Women have made gigantic strides Today, we can proudly say that there are female astronauts and prime ministers. Schoolgirls are welcomed into university. A man can work and also raise a family. Women can vote. A woman can work and also raise a family. Women can vote, drive a car, charter a plane, and are skilled captains of the sea. Today, women have real choices, and so on. And so, on this day, each year, the world inspires and empowers women to celebrate their sterling achievements. The focal point of International Women's Day is to advance women's rights. We are all part of this movement, whether we realize it or not. This is an opportunity for you to take an interest in joining a global family that educates, enlightens, empowers women and girls worldwide. What can you do to uplift your sister? What can you as a woman do to encourage action in growing this movement? What role can you play in empowering women or girl child? I'd come across many inspiring articles while reading about this year's International Women's Day. Some of the successes of International Women's Day is attributed to collective action and shared ownership. Together, we must educate women on better health choices. We must celebrate women's innovations and their creativity in the arts. We must applaud women in sports and continue to fight for equality in sports. Working together, we can build an inclusive workplace so women thrive. Celebrating women's achievement and increasing visibility while calling out inequality is key. Please remember this. The city's leadership is here to support you, the women's rights activists, the gender equality advocates, and visionaries. Collectively, we can tackle the unfinished business of empowering women. Tell the world your inspiring story using the thematic hashtags, hashtag choose to challenge, the straightforward hashtag International Women's Day 2021, hashtag International Women's Day, and hashtag see her. Don't forget to tag at Ethekwini Municipality. Let's show the world the powerhouse of women that help us run the city. Individuals and organizations are invited to send their hashtag choose to challenge images of this worldwide community. And I encourage you all to be part of an active International Women's Day community, which sees a number of worldwide missions and projects that are helping forge gender equality in the world. We can all choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequality. We can all choose to seek out and celebrate women's achievements. Collectively, we can all create an inclusive world. From challenge comes change. So let's all choose to challenge. Show your support and solidarity. Strike the choose to challenge pose and share on social media using hashtag choose to challenge, hashtag International Women's Day 2021 to encourage further people to commit to helping forge an inclusive world. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you. And again, a very warm welcome, my sisters and brothers who are part of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DCM, for re-emphasizing the commitment of the city for women empowerment initiative and actions. We really appreciate and to acknowledge that the leadership is part of this as well. We thank you so much. And to acknowledge that today we are celebrating women's achievement, either it been from politics to business, religion to sports, women in all spheres. And I'm just reminded by the quote by Kamala Harris in November last year, the Vice President of the US, when she said, I'm quoting, "While I may be the first woman in this office, I won't be the last, because every girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities," unquote. And we can even, this message, you can see it from the city by the involvement of leadership to say that as much as you are sitting in those cities, but you are saying you won't be the last. You are mentoring and coaching other women to be able to occupy those spaces in future. We thank you for that. I just want to highlight some house rules, virtual rules online. If you want to send a comment, just go to the chat box and place your comment there. In between, I'll be able to read that for the panel. And if the time still allows us, we will then afford the opportunity to our panelists to answer as well those comments. If maybe there's questions as well, they'll be able to engage. So this is a very participative event. Feel free to place comments, just to drop comments on the chat box. But before I move on, I will allow, as I have mentioned earlier, I will allow Snetemba Kumalo, because one of our initiatives is to make sure that we have disability inclusion. Usnetemba will do the sign language interpreting on what Ukim Makatini have just said to us. Snetemba. Thank you so much, Snetemba, for that interpretation. Without wasting time, now is the time for Councillor Nompumelelo Sithole, our chairperson for governance and human capital, to give us a message of support. But after she has given us her message, we give her an opportunity again. She wants move on this seat. We'll give her an opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, the president of SARCA. Welcome, Mama Mpumelelo Sithole. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Buhle, Sanbonani. Good morning and a welcome and a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us today in the celebration of International Women's Day 2021. It is my absolute honor to welcome you as chairperson of the Corporate and Human Capital Committee. The acting DCM, Kim Makatini, has shared with us some excellent and insightful information on this day. So thank you, Kim, for introducing the theme of the International Women's Day 2021. You have inspired me to do more. There is still much work to be done for the emancipation of women, for their equality in the home and also in the workplace. Here at the city, equality, equity, diversity and inclusions are not just buzzwords. Leadership is constantly working on strategies to create a fair workplace. It might be considered a drop in the ocean, but let the figures speak for themselves. As it is said, the slightest progress in the right direction is still progress. We are not going back, that is for sure. In the city, the female workforce has 10,823 women occupying various posts in different occupational categories. This figure translates to 42.39% of the total workplace. Men, we are catching up, and this is a good thing. A further breakdown of these figures is as follows. In top management, that is TK19 to 25, there are 43 women, which make up almost 33%. In senior management, TK16 to 18, we have 162 women, which is around 40% of the total workforce. In the professionally qualified category, that is TK14 to TK15, there is 478 women, making up approximately 46%. Professional women, wow, 100 years ago, we would have thought that women can indeed be more than just barefoot and pregnant. Wow. Skilled technical, that's TK9 to TK13, equals 3,532, again almost 50%. Semi-skilled, TK4 to TK8 is sitting at 42.28%. And last but certainly not least, unskilled, that is TK0 to TK3, it's over 40%. My wish is that next year, when we celebrate International Women's Day, those figures will increase and will bridge the equality gap. If any city can do it, it is us, eThekwini municipality, through its corporate and human capital strategies under the Employment Equity Office. For this, I think this office deserves a big round of applause. Thank you, colleagues, for the sterling work that you are doing in creating a fair workplace. Hashtag choose to challenge gender bias and inequality. Let this theme for 2021 be our daily chant. Let us all work towards this. I don't want to dampen your mood. However, it is important to mention gender-based violence. To all female employees, I want to urge you to report gender-based violence. If you remain silent, you are an accomplice in a way. Don't be an accomplice. Neither are you to blame for the violence inflicted on you. Spousal abuse, domestic violence, and harassment in the workplace is unacceptable. Let us all break the silence. Please don't keep quiet. The city has channels for you to speak up. We are an empowering city in more ways than one can imagine. This city is your family. Let us all empower, uplift, and support each other. Please, let's have those tough conversations. Let us not keep quiet. Let us break the silence. Musukuthula, khuluma, musukufela ngaphakathi. Akekho umuntu okufanele ukuthi aka-abuse. Ukuba umuntu wesifazane akusho ukuthi wena ungaphansi kwabanye abantu. Whether umuntu ungumqashi wakho, khuluma. We are there as women to support each other, and we should support each other. On that note, let me end there. I wish you the success on this beautiful day. I wish that we all as women enjoy the rest of our day. Amandla, wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo. I've also been asked to introduce our guest speaker, and our guest speaker is Councillor Thembisile Nkadibeng. Councillor Thembisile Nkadibeng is the president of the South African Local Government Association, known as USALGA. She served as deputy president of SALGA before ascending to the position of the president, being only the second president of SALGA since its formation. Amandla Mbokodo. She also serves as a co-president of the United Cities of Local Government, that's EUCLG. Councillor Nkatibeng is the executive mayor of Polokwane Municipality in Limpopo Province. Having served in the position since 2040 to date, she served in the managerial positions in both public administration and in the private sector. Councillor Kadibeng holds a higher education diploma, a Bachelor of Arts, honors degree, as well as honors in political studies, which she obtained from the University of Stellenbosch. In preparation for her numerous leadership roles, she also completed the advanced program in management at Wits Business School. Wow, in Bogoto. Councillor Nkadibeng held various leadership positions in the structures of her political party, the current ruling party, the African National Congress, the ANC. Councillor Nkadibeng is committed in promoting people-centered development, gender equity, as well as social transformation agenda. She is also committed to be the leading voice of local government in protecting and defending the interests and gains made for the local government sector. And that is none other than our President of SALGA, Councillor Thembisile Nkadibeng Imbokodo. Wathinta abafazi. Wathinta imbokodo. Hey, women. Hayi siyangena, siyabangena samakhosikazi. That's Councillor Kadibeng. Ngiyabonga.
Sorry for that, technology. Sometimes I thought I'm muted, but I didn't. Apologies for that. Before we continue, ngisacela nje just to ukudlula a message of support from umama uNompumelelo Sithole, wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo, uthi siyabangena boardroom. We want to be part of those decision-making processes. Siyabangena in addressing and accelerating gender parity. Siyabangena in celebrating and observing such days where women are being recognized and prioritized. Siyabonga kakhulu Councillor uNompumelelo Sithole. For now, because of some technical glitches esinawo, uKhansela uThembisile basamxhuma, we did it dry run, everything was okay, but you know ke sometimes ezinye izinto zibuye ngasebenzi kahle, but our team at the back, IMU and communications, they are assisting us. For that, we just want to apologize. We will rearrange our program, but we do have Usikolile Ngobo who is ready. With that, I would like to introduce her formally so that ezothatha indawo aqhubeke. Usikolile Ngobo is a seasoned gender and sustainable development practitioner and is trained in psychology and employee-ness with over 20 years experience, extensive knowledge and expertise in gender equality with a special focus on women's rights and development in Africa and globally. Experts in organizational development, providing executive leadership, strategic and management support to institutions, focus on gender inequalities within the African social, political and cultural context. Fully conversant with process and protocol of engaging with and negotiating at international, regional and national levels with a clear focus on women's rights and gender equality. Has worked with government institutions, private sector, bilateral and multilateral donors, civil society, and community-based organizations and UN agencies. Continue to have active engagement and advocacy at national, regional, and international human rights mechanisms, including the Commission of the Status of Women, the African Union, International AIDS Conference, International Conference on AIDS, and Sexual Transmitted Infections in Africa and SADC, Head of State Summit. Has excellent knowledge of African regional context and country experiences on women's rights and gender equality, linking to global and South Africa, to South cooperation and intersecting struggles of inequality. She's a member of the Advisory Board Center for Gender and Africa Studies at the University of Free State from 2019 to date, chairperson and member of POA, editorial board on the Women's Writing Project from 2011 to date, member and alumni of the inaugural Global Campaign Advocacy Leadership Program of the Ox Family Confederation 2011-2012, Oxford, UK on Strategic Development, member of the International EAP Association, South Africa branch, has contributed extensively to several research projects and publications over her career. Prior to joining the Commission for Gender Equality of South Africa in 2016, Sikolile has worked on several projects in various institutions, including international, regional, and local South Africa-based non-governmental organizations and private sector. In her professional capacity as a senior manager as the gender and sustainable development expert. Sikolile is the founder and managing director of the Well-Head Company since 2015, a consulting firm that works with organizations to create and maintain conducive workspaces for women to flourish in all their diversity and being. She's a mother to Asibulele and Inami and lives in Cape Town and was born in Pietermaritzburg, a place always called home for her. She has extensive global travel and work experience and has learned that dreams are possible and attainable. I would like to welcome her, but before I do that, I hear that I've been alerted that there's some noise on the background. Apologies again for that. It's just it's a road construction. Even ourselves, we are being disturbed here, but you will bear with us on that. And join me to welcome Usikolile on the platform. Thank you.
Presentation yami.
Sikolile,
Hello,
we can hear you.
can you see my presentation?
Not for now.
Not for now, okay.
Yes.
Let me just find it.
Yes, we can see it now.
What are you seeing?
No, it's emails. The
No, it's showing my Can I just stop sharing? Enough. This one? Can you see that?
nothing for now.
Okay, let me. Now, can you see?
No, I think just share the screen.
Can you
Yes,
see
we
now?
can see it now. Yes, perfect.
Okay, my apologies. It's just technology. I was born before technology, by the way. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, and thank you so much for the invitation to almost have a bird's view back home. As explained, I'm from Pietermaritzburg. Greetings and acknowledgements. I want to greet and acknowledge the Mayor and Chairperson of the Executive Committee, Councillor Mxolisi Kaunda, the Acting City Manager, Mr. Sipotlele, the Chairperson of Governance and Human Capital Committee, Councillor Nompumelelo Sithole, all other guest speakers, Councillor, Deputy City Manager Kim Makatini, heads and deputy heads, senior managers and all staff and all protocol observed. I will not dwell that much on what is the CGE and what do we do, but I want to frame my conversation around what is the vision of the CGE. And the CGE is here to ensure that there's a society free from all forms of gender oppression and inequality. And we do this by promoting, protecting, and advancing and evaluating gender equality through research, public education, policy development, legislative initiatives, and litigation. And already I can hear from the previous speaker, Councillor Sithole, on how already some of the work that the CGE does was coming through in her address. And then I'm going to zoom in right away into what we are challenging today. So we are daring to challenge women not being seen, because when women enter the workplace, they enter like this woman. She's thinking about work, she's thinking about power and decision making, both at home and in the workplace. She's also thinking about, I also need to go and be with my friends and live my life that is not guided by what I do and who I am. So this is how women enter the workplace. And I always say I want to contextualize why this is a position for women who are in the workplace. It's because when women entered the workplace, no one actually was ready for them to enter. Women entered the workplace by a coincidence when there was a World War One and the World War Two, where when there were now factories that were no longer running because men had gone to be conscripted or be in the army,
Then it was like, oh, women go and hold up amafemu until men come back from the war. But when the men came back from the Second World War, women were like, we're not going back to the kitchen. We actually like it here. So they then were there, and we've been since then trying to accommodate. And this trying to accommodate is actually coming to a place where we need to then stop trying to accommodate. We need to then challenge what we see. So the gender inequality, the gender biasness in the workplace, we need to start challenging those things. So how do we start doing those things? So because I really wanted to contextualize lento in a way where kune-example engayibamba ngesandla, an example that is tangible. So I thought, let me just show you some of shocking stats. So this is a survey that I ran where I asked a sample of 30 people. I wanted to make it clear so that kuzobalula when I do the percentage of what does that mean. So out of the 30 women age from 25 to about 45, I asked them, have you ever experienced gender bias and inequality in the workplace before? 66.7% of them said yes. Only 10% said no. And the other ones were unsure, maybe. And if you were to then add the maybe and the ones that say yes, do you realize how, if you are not even aware whether it's gender, whether it's harassment, whether it's gender bias, whether it's inequality that we are experiencing, you wouldn't know. And this is a very shocking number, because it means out of 10 women, 6 of them have experienced gender bias and inequality in the workplace. And we are not talking about the ones that they experience at home and in their society. So that is where the problem is. I went on to say, so where is this gender bias and inequality taking place? Gave them a range of places where it could happen. Can it happen when you are being managed for performance evaluation? Does it happen in a job interview where all of a sudden you don't get a job just because you're experiencing gender bias and inequality? Does it happen in the work environment? And as you can see there, 73%, 73.3% of them, they said it is they are experiencing it in the workplace. In meetings, it was 30%. Work trips, very small. Tax rank, so which means now society where they're coming from, never, that's very small. From other female team leaders, this number very small. And then the number of people who have not really experienced it. So what I'm trying to show here is that from a perspective of what I was asked to talk about, where I'm asked to talk on advancing, protecting, and promoting gender equality, this is what an institution that employs people or work with people or women in particular will have likely happening in their workplace. So what then needs to happen? Because if you are saying you have a policy to advance gender equality, so, and most people are saying they are actually experience gender equality in the workplace, you need to start asking how much of the policy is actually helping to advance and protect gender equality, and how much of those policies are actually not promoting and not advancing and not actually taking forward gender inequality. And then I want to move to the next slide. So when it comes to, because when I was asked to then say, what then do we need to do, especially around the protection and advancing and promoting. So the next question that I want to speak from is, if you have experienced gender bias and inequality, has there been instances where you reported this? And this question becomes very important because from an organizational perspective, you will have HR who will write policies. You will have programs that are then attached to those policies so that we enable an environment where it's conducive for women and men and gender non-conforming individuals to be in the workplace. But when the trouble shoots and you find that only 33% of the people who are experiencing gender inequality are not are reporting, and the big number, 50%, plus the ones that are saying I don't know. Remember earlier on those ones who said maybe, but when you look at these stats, you can see again 6 in 10 are the ones that are experiencing, are the ones that are not also reporting. So from a perspective of keeping records in an institution, you'll find that you're saying, no, we never get people who have experienced inequality. So what are you talking about? But it's because maybe in the workforce there is no awareness. Secondly, in the safeguards, by safeguards I mean your programs, your policies, and sometimes you find that institutions have what is called sexual harassment officers, or people that you can talk to, a health and wellness expertise, or a labor relations person. But you find that sometimes people don't even go there, so you end up not knowing how many people are actually experiencing gender inequality and biasness in the workplace. So what then needs to happen is to then find mechanisms that can be anonymous or can be hotlines where people can report, and then you then flag. For example, if Uskolile Ngcobo has been reported 3 times, it's highly unlikely that Uskolile Ngcobo is not violating other people. There can't be instances of 3 people reporting Uskolile and there's nothing. So there's always a need to follow where there's almost a smoke, because there's definitely fire underneath that smoke. So on internal awareness and internal protections, I think that becomes very important to know that when you put policies in place, they do not automatically work into enabling a space where the violation no longer happens. But you need to then follow through and enable those policies to work, and constantly review or monitor and evaluate. Monitor and evaluate those policies and see whether they're working for your workplace. And then I think that was my last slide, and I would be happy to take any questions if there are questions before I move on.
Thank you so much, Sikolile. I think for now we will gather questions as we go along. Towards the end, we will then compile them and let the panel be able to respond on those. But for now, I would like to give an opportunity to Snetemba just to do the language interpreting. Thank you, Sinetemba, for sign language interpretation. We really appreciate it. I just want to touch on Sikolili's speech. We thank you for sharing with us advancing, promoting, and protecting gender equity. But you also done that in a practical terms. I've noted that. We saw on your slide 9, you shared with us some percentage. How is it live on the performance evaluations, on job interviews, on work environment? And really we need to look at these things, because if you see on performance evaluation is 6.7%. So it's the lessons that we take to say whatever HR processes that we do, we try and minimize the gender bias issues if they are visible. And thank you for sharing the Commission for Gender Equity contact details, which is 0800 007 709. We would keep it in our office in case it's needed in future, so that we'll be able to advise employees accordingly if they want to report something or want to engage with the offices. We thank you for that. And colleagues, again, I highlighted earlier that this is a participative session. We really encourage you to drop your comments as well as questions on the chat box, so that the panel, I know they are ready for you. They are ready to tackle those questions. They are ready to comment on those comments. Without further ado, I'm being told that Ukansela Utembisile, President of SARGA, is online now. Technical issues have been sorted. We know Ukansela Numpumele Stole has already introduced her, and I would just like to give her the platform now to give us her message for today in terms of choosing to challenge gender bias as well as inequity. Thank you. Over to you, Tembisile.
Thank you very much, Fundo. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. I could follow everything earlier on. And thank you very much for the opportunity. So don't worry that I missed anything. I didn't. It was just my sound and possibly my camera, which couldn't continue or show me through. Let me start by saying thank you very much, of course, to the program director, Kim Makatini. I've had her as the acting DCM, as she broke the ice and welcomed us and opened the session and gave us the purpose. Ms. Nompumelelo Estole, thank you very much for also ushering through the topic, but also ensuring that we understand why it is critical for us as women to gather and share amongst ourselves issues of critical importance and of growth. My fellow panelists as well, who I'm going to be sharing the podium with, thank you very much, all the participants and all the management and the leadership of the city of eThekwini. I'm very glad. It is with gratitude that on behalf of SALGA, I International Women's Day. It is marked on our international calendar as the 8th of March. Under the theme, a challenged world is an alert world. How will we forge raising awareness against biasness? Women's struggles, as we have heard from Sis Nompumelelo, are universal and international by their very own nature. The International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, political achievements of women and mostly focus on the political element. But I've seen good signs overall our country beginning to lift up women from a social, economic, cultural, media, and many other spheres where women are putting their best foot forward to represent all of us. So we must take from today henceforth this day as a mark of a call to action for a united action for accelerating gender parity across all spheres of life. Historically, the day occurred over a century ago when the first gathering in 1911, which was supported by over a million people in Australia, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland. Before this, the Socialist Party of America, the UK's suffragists, people advocating for the right to vote must be extended to more people, especially women. Women seeking the right to vote through organized protests. Other groups also campaigned for women equality. Today, as me and you sit, the International Women's Day belongs to all groups now, collectively everywhere across the globe. And here we are today, reflecting on this day in the context of the global pandemic that is ravaging the world during our lifetime. We pay homage to all the, but we must also pay homage because we know the health sector, healthcare workers. So we've shown our strength again that we can carry the world on our shoulders.
And yet before I could hear all the speakers. Now on this invite, I said I can't hear anything. I can just
Can you hear me?
You were breaking. You were breaking earlier, but we can hear you now.
Okay, it's I can see Mamlindiwe is complaining that she can't hear me. Funny, I don't know what switched my mic. I could hear, but I couldn't talk anymore. Can she hear me? The Chief Executive Officer. It looks like she can't hear me. But I will continue.
Yes, please proceed. We'll get hold of her and sort it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
As the sphere of local government, we have lost many councillors, amongst which is our provincial chairperson of Salga district municipality, Menon Tlemkulis, and many other councillors and women community leaders, and may their soul rest in peace. Indeed, through this time, we can clearly say the world, being deeply challenged, is alert and is being forced to be alert. Our realities that this global pandemic surfaced on an equal society reflecting poverty and unemployment, the face of which mainly, as I said, is women. The sickness, the job losses, suffering, and the new normal brought about COVID-19 has had a significant impact for women. So the initial response saw full lockdown with businesses closed, working from home, schools closed, and an introduction of children trying to live and continuing with their lives at home. So changing the world during the recovery period is trying again to see us gearing forward to a return to work environment, return to schools with modifications, transport for school not at a capacitated level, altered school levels, and many drop-offs with varying hours than what women have been used to doing. Restrictions for carpooling, work not flexible, which means we had to enter into a world which we call as business unusual. And there have been many it impacted mostly on us as women. It highlighted the inequalities that are still present but hampering negatively on women. We've realized working from home. What about the most of the women whose jobs make it impossible for them to work from home? And the tasks of children who ordinarily should be at school but are now at home. So women face difficulties of infusing the new calendar or the way of doing things under COVID to ensure that everything happens in a household. And most of our homes where women are single caregivers are not practical to account for this and did not assist in any way. How going forward should be our policy living in an era of pandemics? So nothing to accommodate the added responsibility to women. They had to find the balance themselves and adjust with all the psychological and physical ramifications. Raised and stood to the task and have been able to carry the country and the nation. Load at home, women having to pay the price. We saw about 63% in increases of their time spent in unpaid domestic work versus the 59% of men. So 60% of the time spent by women in unpaid care work by women than the average of 54%, which means you had to take care of the children at home while you are sitting on your computer and ensuring that you push the work and balance it and ensure that you are able to meet your targets at work, but you are also able to ensure that the family is a viable that everybody is cared for. But this has been negative, has had a negative impact on women. So our modified response going forward needs to ask, who must recognize this impact? Did anyone at leadership and management take notice of the plight of women? If they did, what did they do about it? But what did we ourselves as women leaders do? Did we leave and left managers' discretion to roll? Other institutions have not been prompt enough to assist women. And look into the future suggests that we must ensure a proper policy development to accommodate women in a meaningful and a directive manner. And this we can't expect anybody to do, but we need to do it ourselves as women leaders. So we need to set some of the historical context as we set the gender parity balance going forward. The path of women's equality has been long and challenging, but what we owe our forebears is the honor and the dignity in how they have led the struggles to put us here. Women who came before us, it was not easy for them to ensure that today we speak of 50-50, that today I sit and say I'm a mayor in a city, the biggest city in Limpopo, for example, and many more outcomes. Today we have women engineers. Today we have got women actuaries. Charlotte Maxeke was the first woman to have a science degree. Yet the system put her under pressure and she died a pauper because she was not allowed to practice into her own career and what she has been taught of. And some of the stages of this path of equality are outlined and have proved to show us and keep us in focus on this important agenda. Activism of the early 1800s and the 1900s, as I have articulated, have showed that women fought so hard. The focus was largely on securing the right to vote and equal pay for work. These two issues, women's voice and participation in governance. The 70s shows a strong permanent form of feminism. Fast forward to saw women rallying and protesting. The 80s saw an array of Fix the Women program, well-meaning trying to help women network and assertive. And this is an era in which we were born, raised, and developed. Hence, we occupy these positions today. But the era where we need to participate is the 90s forward, the Beijing Conference, calling upon all governments and international community and civil societies, including NGOs and the private sector, to strategic action to advance the goals of equality. So today, me and you, between 2000 and 2009, have focused on organizational development. Maybe now it's time to shift the gear. We've dealt with organizational structures to ensure that women thrive. Women have put their foot into the boardroom, they are there. And it's us who are there. Now we need diverse recruiting, inclusive talent pipelines, and attention in order to widen the diversity groups beyond gender, such as race, ensuring a promotion of colored women, for example, LGBTI, and so forth. Make sure that they are present and represented equally and sit with us where we are. But we need to move forward and treat men as allies. In recent years, we have seen that men are bringing themselves into the table as advocates and champions for change, and they've recognized as a major trend in the world that women need assistance from their fellow men, uncles, brothers, for assistance in accelerating women's equality. But expect inclusivity. Yeah, hence you say hear about men like Me Too. Time is up, and are putting a significant global rise into the International Women's Agenda Day in each and every world. We need to develop ours now in Africa, South Africa in particular, where men are in the fight to ensure gender parity, but the protection of our children. Currently, protection and the caring of our children, Stats SA says 67%, close to 70 families in South Africa are women-led and singularly so, which raising the children of South Africa. Where are these men? Does the law protect us to ensure that when you have an order for protection or an order for maintenance, that maintenance is paid when somebody could afford? So this reflects the challenges which we have surpassed, but also which we need to take notice and ensure that, guided by our structures in government and in civil society, we forge forward. Some changes in our policy, reforms, and legislative changes must see us promoting them, pushing to them to push women. The world is now alert. Our children are alert. Our younger girls are alert. But yet, the increase in gender-based violence targeting women is still high. So the realities brought forward by these current challenges forces us for more alertness to the plight of women and a girl child, so that we intensify the cause of closing the gap between men and women for the good of society as the world. For example, a wage gender equality struggle in local government sphere as part of broader struggles for equal wage South Africa for men, through ensuring that we deal with or in the table, but it's more best and we don't notice. For example, you may celebrate that when we start, at least from the party that I come from, we talk of 50-50 representation in leadership being enforced as a police, and you'll find many female mayors. But when those female mayors, because the system doesn't support them, society bulldoze them as a common norm, more female mayors get recalled in the middle of the term and they don't finish their terms. And worse, what happens? They get to be replaced by most municipalities invested in a bank that collapsed. Fast forward, there was a recall of 11 mayors, if I'm not wrong, or 9 mayors, somewhere there. 7 of those were female. 4 of those were replaced by men. Only 3 returned. So, and there are many more examples. And many you go and see us now reducing the gains, and at the time, because we celebrated at the beginning, nobody is keeping track. Commission, and we're lobbying and ensure that we fight for office. As I've said, that we have observed that women leaders get to be wiped up over time. And this is a worrying trend where all of us needs not only to celebrate at the entrance of 2016 as the term begins, but in 2019 you lose them and we are not even careful about it. So, program director, our war needs persistence. Some of the jobs between male and females is still high. We're expecting and need to ensure that history records a world now which talks of equity, diversity, and inclusion. So the year 2020, amidst the pandemic, saw an important wave of collective individualism. That is, individuals are unique at the same time, but alike, meaning that each other is not better than the other or not different from anyone. World. That's what we have been taught. So it is up to us to choose to challenge and consistently commit to calling out on our inequality. It is how we heighten this awareness. But maybe before I which does not assist us to act as a front on what we need to do to choose to challenge. We can't be a generation of women that only focuses on fighting and not give another woman a chance. I hope I didn't miss the story of Zanele's stall. From what I am reading as we're preparing from this event, it's a story of us going out looking for more Zaneles, promote them, support them, not only by lip service, but by policies and by structures that ensures that women are developed, but women are supported by women themselves. Let's not celebrate that I'm the only one of men. Instead of opening the door for more women, you close the door. But let's also stop. When we are two in the room, we fight about who has the best weave, who has got good nails. Instead of supporting one another, we fight about trivialities. The struggle for women emancipation is not of. So at any given time, when a man is supposed to choose between a woman, they are likely to choose themselves. And when they choose a woman, they are likely to choose one to divide us so that we are unable to support her. And at the end of the day, she fails. And when she fails, she's failing on all of our behalf. And they say, look at women. When you give them a chance, they can't stand to the occasion. So we need to make it our mission that even though we differ, we need to know what, when a woman ascends, let that woman be supported by other women, because she's not doing it for herself alone. She carries the name on our behalf. Let me conclude, Chairperson, by saying a challenge well miss. Climate change, wars, pandemic, gender-based violence, drought, and economic depressions are challenges that the world is contended with and have to understand that if our street lights are not working, a woman is more vulnerable of being grabbed, killed, raped, because there is no protection from that municipal. Let me and you understand as councillor that if there's no proper sustainable supply of water, I don't know what is she going to meet, as she is a prey somewhere in an isolated area trying to get water to feed for a family. If our programs do a woman is going to be forced to go to the bush to look for wood to fend for her children and feed her family. So our position as councillors, as employees of municipalities, is so strategic for the empowerment of women. And we must do it jealously so, knowing that it may look like I'm a female electrician fixing electricity, but it goes a long way in reducing our gender-based violence, for example. So we will only fight side by side until we can, as equals, rise up to a normal world that gives full recognition of women as leaders in their own right. When we were growing up, there used to be a song we were singing, those who went to crèche. Me, I'm old, I didn't go to a crèche. But there's a song my kids used to sing, brighten the corner where you are. When you're an electrician, don't think you are not part of gender parity fight. When you are a water technologist, don't think you are not part of emancipation of women of a fight. It starts at our homes. We need to reinforce the message, go to our schools, and generally our society. We've done it with the past laws. We've done it against apartheid. We've done it in parliament and in our councils. In our workplace, now we are thriving. So the struggle does not stop. The gender agenda is firmly on the world, and let us make it count. Malibongwe igama lamakhosikazi. A happy International Women's Day. The struggle for women equality at all levels continues. Thank you very much, Program Director, and my sincere apologies to keep. Hope you could hear me to the end. I appreciate the opportunity. Masibambaneni simakhosikazi and change the world. It is possible.
quiet. Yeah. Sharp, sharp. Bye.
Thank you so much to our speakers and our language interpreter. We will continue with our program. I'm being told Lindiwe Rakharibe is on the line right now. But before I give her an opportunity, I would just like to reflect on Councillor Thembisile Kadibeng's speech. What I've observed or noted on the speech is that as much as we would be given opportunities to progress and develop as women, but we need to do it ourselves. And when we are taking those seats, we need to excel, we need to perform, we need to deliver, we need to meet our targets, we need to be employees that are supposed to be good employees. And she left us with some challenge. I heard her saying that we need to extend our diversity and inclusion. We need to include our LGBTQIA colleagues as well. We need to include race on our discussions. We need to protect each other and care for each other. But most importantly is the legislative framework and policies. They need to be conducive and allow for such environment and conversations. So colleagues, it's up to us to challenge, and like today we are committing to choose to challenge in various ways. So and she left us with some challenges to say we need to attract and retain more Zaneles. And I'm happy that, and I was amazed that she's in the technical environment, not even on the support services. So we need to have more strategies and programs in place as the city to attract more Zaneles. But we'll hear more from Zanele after the CEO. So we promise you, Councillor, we are not going to fight about our nails and hairstyles, but we will choose from today to support each other, to mentor each other, to coach each other, and fight the issues that we face as women. Without further ado, I would like to introduce formally our CEO, Durban ICC, Ulindiwe Rakharibe. I had a great opportunity to serve under her almost 2 years at the Durban ICC. She's one of the amazing leaders that I have worked with. Lindiwe Rakharibe is the Chief Executive Officer of the Durban International Convention Center. Having been appointed in April 2015, she holds a bachelor degree in management leadership from Free State University, a diploma in management development program, which is an executive education, and a number of professional development programs, including in financial services sector, training and development programs there, which was the International Training Solutions. Lindiwe has taken the Durban ICC to new heights during her tenure, leading the organization to make record-breaking contributions in both positive economic impact and job creation. She has an extensive experience in the financial services industry in KwaZulu-Natal, and she's a well-respected business leader across the country. She is the African representative on the ICCA board, which is the Global Community and Knowledge Hub for the International Association Meetings Industry. She is passionate about women and gender issues in respect of women empowerment. Caring for the aged is close to her heart. In light of her leadership role in driving women empowerment and caring for the aged, she is serving as the chairperson of the KwaZulu-Natal Network in preventing violence against women. Lindiwe is personally and professional to making a difference in the life of those less fortunate. Lindiwe's motto in life is treat others the way you like to be treated. And I know that, and I've testified it, the way she treats her employees. She doesn't even consider them as employees, but she considers them as partners to move the ICC, not only ICC, but the KwaZulu-Natal province forward. I know her, she has traveled internationally, selling Durban and KZN as one of the tourist destinations. With that, Ms. Lindy Rakaribe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Busha Makanya. Program Director, I hope you can hear me. Can you? You can?
Yes, I can. You may
Thank you.
proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nompumelelo Sithole, Chairperson of Governance, Human Capital Committee. Councillor Temisile Nkadimeng, Executive Mayor, Polokwane, and also President of SALGA. Kim Makatini, our Acting Deputy City Manager, Corporate Human Capital. Sikalile Ngobo, Western Cape Provincial Manager, Advancing, Promoting and Protecting Gender Equality. Zanele Sithole, who's our Senior Draft Person, as well as the only rose among the thorns, Reggie Mkize. Kabazela, you are the only rose in the panel today, and we are the thorns among you. Welcome. Good morning, Sanbonani Nonke. Let me truly extend a Durban warm welcome to all of you, our distinguished guests and all the people that are listening to us today. It's truly an honor to be invited to be here. I just wish I could be hugging all of you today, but I'm just going to give you a virtual hug because of this coronavirus. We can't touch and feel people and smell people, but that will come. We're just waiting patiently for the day. It is truly my honor to address you today. My name is Lindy Rakaribe, or Rakaribe ke Omfuke. If you can't say Rakaribe, you can say Mfuke. I'll forgive you. I'm the CEO of the Inkosi Albert Lutuli Convention Center, which is also known as the Durban ICC. I'm a proud citizen of Durban. I was born and brought up in Chesterville, which is here in Durban. I'm really pleased to see our city taking the lead in celebrating the social and economic and cultural achievements of women in our time. I really think that there are many examples of women in leadership positions in our city, and the wonderful work that eThekwini municipality has done over the years. In the past 15 years, you can really see through the women empowerment wing of the city's business support, tourism and market units. This office oversees a series of socio-economical empowerment programs aimed to effectively benefit and empower women. Their core mandate is to generate tangible methods to accelerate women's economic empowerment in the city and in the province by driving skills development and by providing various business training courses for women and facilitating access to new business opportunities and ultimately empowering them to unlock their economic potential. Whilst we can certainly all be proud of these accomplishments, let us continue to spur one another in this cause. And there's still so much more which can still be done in the years ahead. I'd probably like to talk to you today about gender parity. Even though we have celebrated over 26 years in our democracy in South Africa, there's still a great imbalance, a really great gender imbalance in the workplace. Sadly, women are treated not equally compared to their male counterparts in the workplace. As women, we always have to work twice as hard or 3 times as hard as our male counterparts to demonstrate our capabilities in the workplace. And yet, we are still often underestimated. We really have to jump the hoops, jump the hurdles for people to see our worth. But we'll push on because we are not afraid. So how do we as women negotiate for our presence to be felt in the workplace? We are saying today, we choose to challenge. We choose not to go unnoticed. We choose to take up the challenge and take action so that our presence may be felt wherever we are. Perhaps we need to ask our questions as women. Do we as women negotiate less than men? According to the program on negotiation at the Harvard Law School, they tell us that men tend to enjoy better economic results in negotiations than women. Such gender differences are generally small, but evidence from the business world suggests that they can add up over time. You'd remember that when Michelle Obama, the first lady of the US, married to Barack Obama, when she was offered her first job after law school, she tells us that it didn't even occur to her to negotiate for a higher salary. She said in a recent interview in the Parity magazine, this situation gave her a chance to reflect on the hurdles female negotiators face. She said, I quote, now I realize that that's one of the challenges that we have as women. We don't negotiate for ourselves. We don't negotiate hard, close quote. So we are learning from people that are there in high places as well that we've got to negotiate and negotiate hard as we go along in life. I believe that women play a pivotal role in transforming the economy of our country in order to address unemployment, poverty, and equality. Therefore, enhancing the participation of women in development programs across all sectors is essential, not only for achieving social justice, but also for addressing the numerous challenges that South Africa faces today. But according to the Global Women in Business report, which has just been done in 2020 last year, it was released by Grant Thornton. They tell us that women occupy 29% of senior management positions. That's very low. 29% globally, with 71% being represented by male counterparts. So we still have a lot of work to do. And we know that women can do a better job. I'm just saying. According to the Carol Sanker, who is a leadership advisor and the founder of the Confidence Factor for Women, I'm sure we all know Carol Sanker, the act of professional negotiation has a completely different definition for men than women. For women, negotiation is seen as an improper act of appearing greedy or desperate. It is frowned upon by women who are often intimidated by the fact of asking and by the act of asking for their worth in business and in the workplace. The same could not be further from the truth for the men. In fact, men are encouraged to ask. Men are encouraged to renegotiate compensation agreements and partnerships and more. And what do they say? That the man has got balls. But if you try and renegotiate hard as a woman, what do they say? You are greedy. So we must just not stop though, we must keep on pushing. It is highly a marketable skill, which is viewed as a key leadership strategy. Close quote. That was Carol Sanker who was saying those words. Historically, women have gone through a series of battles, a series of struggles and tests to prove their capability of being active part of a labor force. In the past, women were expected to stay at home, to take care of their children, and perform household chores, while the men were the breadwinners. In some countries and cultures, this stereotype still exists. But we know that some women are the breadwinners today, and the roles have reversed. Some men are now stay-home moms as men. They take care of the household chores while the women are performing their duties at work. So I will share with you some countries that are still operating in those stereotypes. Niger has only 17% of women between ages of 15 and 24 that are literate. So they do not advocate education in that country. And Mali, only 38% of the girls still finish primary school. And in Afghanistan, there is a wider gender gap there because only boys are allowed to go to school. More boys go to school than girls. So you can see in these countries, three that I've mentioned, they would rather educate a boy child and not a girl child. I'm sharing the stats with you because the young women in these countries truly the odds are already stacked up against them. Many young girls are expected to work rather than go to school, and many marry at a very young age and they end up not having education. So they are being really robbed the chance of getting the education. I think we have a lot of work to do globally. That's why a change in our mindset is then important. As women, it is truly critical. Despite our societal norms, women have changed the course of history. For example, look at the 20,000 women across all races that marched to the Union buildings on the 9th of August in 1956 to deliver a petition to the then President J.G. Stradom against the carrying of passes by black women. That was teamwork. The women from all races that came through and fought for us. This brown woman talking to you right now marched into one of the big financial institutions in the mid-80s and demanded to be heard, demanded for her voice to be heard, demanded a job. Her goal and her dream was to be a banker, and she was clear that nothing could stand in her way until she had seen her vision, and that is Lindy Warakaribe. That's how she marched into the bank in the early 80s. In those days, Durban was burning. That's how I always refer to the 80s in those times. So women are nation builders. We must know that. We are nation builders. We are the pillars of our society. We have the ability to hold our families together, despite whatever challenges we may have. We have that ability. We are the leaders in our society, and we are the role models to many people. So it's important to watch how we carry ourselves. It is important to be mindful of what you say, because people are listening, people that are looking up to you. So we therefore need to empower one another and leverage each other's strengths for greater good of society. We need to support each other and lift each other up. Don't be happy that you're the only African woman sitting on the board. Invite more. Don't be happy that you're the only African woman in a sector. Invite more, empower more, coach more, mentor more, because it's important that we have more women. As I've just said, we are the strength and the pillar of our society. The good news, though, is that negotiation skills can be enhanced. Women should negotiate confidently and convincingly. Your ability to negotiate in today's competitive business world can determine your success in whatever field of business you choose to work in or to choose to concentrate in. As an entrepreneur, your ability to negotiate will prove especially helpful in these times of hardship, when you may not have access of a lot of capital, but still can secure great deals because of your negotiation skills. The following tips can really make us improve our skills and probably make a difference in our lives or the next generation as they negotiate. The first one I'd like to share with you: being confident. Be confident and assertive. Be confident and assertive. We've learned this in the book of Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, Lean In. I like that book. And most of the people that I mentor, I always give them a copy because I want them to learn all the things that she's saying there. So Lean In, woman work, and will to lead. She reminds us as women that we do not need permission to sit on the table. We don't need permission to be heard in a meeting. And when you go to those meetings, and there are those men who will ask you for coffee, so you better act fast. As you get into the boardroom, you must ask the men first for the coffee and tell them, sorry, black coffee, no sugar, or tea with milk, no sugar. Let them serve you. Don't let them ask you to serve them, because they are stereotypes. They see a female, they want to be served by a female. No, not today. So women are great natural leaders and are often as willing to take on the same challenges as men. Lean In points out then to us that women might be self-sabotaging at times. We sabotage it ourselves due to a lack of self-confidence rather than being overlooked because of gender. So we need that confidence as you go to any meeting, and that assertiveness. You need to exude self-confidence and be assertive, especially in negotiations. There's a difference in being rude and assertive. Remember, I said be confident and assertive. So still keep your cool. The second one, be prepared. Always go to a meeting prepared. So the key to be a good negotiator is to be well prepared at all times. Conducting research about the situation is critical. Where you're going to, research about what meeting you're going to, what work you're going to. If you know your subject matter very well, you will have the ability to negotiate with confidence and authority. By doing your homework, you are putting yourself in the best possible situation to understand the other side so that you can accurately put your point across because you fully understand the landslide. The third one, know when to compromise. Know when to compromise. Being a good negotiator is not about being stubborn. During a negotiation, there will be times when you will require to compromise, but you must always strive to get something in return for your concession. The way you compromise signals the importance of some terms of the negotiation versus others, and this should be dependent on the situation and on what you are negotiating on. You also need to listen. Listening is important because listening is not just important as talking. Listening is just as important as talking. You need to make the other party understand that you value their opinion and you will consider their views. So it's not about your views only. Sit back, listen, and consider other people's views. The fourth one, follow up. When you've had a meeting, you've discussed things, follow up. Once you've agreed on something, it's crucial to live up to your end of the agreement as well. Live up to the end of your agreement. Follow up after a negotiation is important because it builds the relationship. And honoring those commitments is just as important. As women in leadership, we need to lead with love. We also need to have the power of compassion. Might I remind you, the power of compassion is far greater than any money can do. The power of compassion is far greater than money, knowledge, and strength and skills, because all these are built on the foundation of compassion. We can make a difference. We could have such a great influence in our world, each and every one of us. Everyone is inherently special. Remember, I always say to people, we all came to this world bearing different gifts. But if we can just infuse these different gifts and join them together, we can create such a great and better world. You come with your special gift. Buhle comes with her own special gift. Tembing Kadimeng has their own special gift. Kim has their own. But if we can just put them all together and build together as women and mentor each other and coach and guide people, I'm telling you, this world could be a greater place. Let us be the instruments of compassion, instruments of grace. That's the true influence, which is beyond affluence. So I really would like probably to tell you that when all is done and you've tried everything and you find yourself truly being overwhelmed, when all else fails, when all else fails, you pray. Yeah? For me, that works. We are different, as I said to you. That's why we called individuals. We are different. But as I tell you, when all else fails, you pray. And for me, Psalms 118, verse 5, it says, out of my distress, I called on the Lord, and the Lord answered me and set me free. So he moves us from distress into a place of blessings. That's where my pillar is, people. I don't want to lie to you. And he tells me as well, in Isaiah 41 that I should not be afraid, verse 10, because he is with me. And I shouldn't be discouraged. I am your God. I will strengthen you and I will help you. I will hold you with my victorious right hand. That's what I believe in. Maybe you believe in something else. All I'm saying, your spiritual strength is just as important, whatever you believe in. But your spiritual strength will work for you. I'd like to thank you, my sisters. I trust that this has been helpful. It's been a helpful session, and you're encouraged to use your voice for women's equality. You're encouraged to use your voice for gender parity. Continue to empower one another. Continue to support and empower another girl, another woman, and lift each other up. We need to leverage each other's strengths for greater good for our society. I always add by saying, let us not just look at young girls and mentoring them and coaching them, because who are they going to marry if you don't look after the boys? So we always do bring the girl child to work. Now we infuse it with boys. We bring the young girl and the young boy, because we need to prepare men as well, so they know how to handle a powerful lady. They know how to handle an assertive and a confident lady. So let's bring both so that we can create this balance in our society. Let us mold and build our young ones, both men and women. I thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Snetemba and Durban CEO. Thank you, Snetemba and Durban CEO. We do acknowledge that we all have a role to play as from today. I know we have been doing some actions in our legal corners, but now we are being challenged to do it collectively. Thank you for ensuring that you re-emphasize that as women, when one woman is empowered, everyone in the society benefits. We are nation builders, we are the pillars of the society. But my takeaway for me is that it's not only equal participation during board meetings or decision-making processes, but we have challenged us today to say even men, they need to serve as tea. So Babu Mkize, be alerted that in the next meeting, definitely you will be asked by ourselves to serve as a tea. It's one of the challenges that is being put in front of us. So be ready in the next meeting. We'll come with our coffees or in fact, you need to come with the coffees, sugars, and everything and serve us as women. The tables are being turned. But with that, thank you so much. And all the speakers, they make it very clear to say that we need to support each other, we need to coach each other, we need to support each other more. And they are calling upon ourselves to join them in higher level positions, because I know I've had some conversation with others as well. They would tell you or share stories to say that it's lonely out up there. So we need to make sure that we work harder and harder as women so that we join them during the meetings in the tables, in the boardrooms. So with that, Uzanele is ready for us. She's been waiting. She's very eager to share her story as a woman, but not only that, as a technical person as well in the male-dominated era, but not only that as well. She's a disabled employee as well. And with that, Zanele, I'll allow you to come forward and take a seat and share a message for today for us in terms of gender bias, equalities, in terms of talking to the conversation of sustainable development goals. We all know that number 5 is gender equality. That's why as the city, we're just talking to that number 5 of the SGD. Thank you, Zanele. You can come forward.
Apologies, Buhle, we can't hear. Apologies, Buhle, we cannot hear.
Good morning, Sanibona. My name is Zanele Sitole. I am a woman with disability. I had polio when I was very young, so my life I have been living with disability. I am so happy today and I'm so excited that we are celebrating International Women's Day. When someone is celebrating you, it means you have a value, you are special. So we as women, we are special. Even if you were crying last night, no one was seeing you. Just wake up today and tell yourself now that I am special, I am being celebrated. I am working at Etegwini Municipality as a senior draft person. My story today is about a woman who have disability in a workplace. I started working at a municipality as an INSEF for the whole year. The following year, there were vacancies and I applied. I went through all the processes and I was successful as a trainee draft person. The position that I am in is a progression position. So you become a first trainee draft person, then a draft person, and now I'm a senior draft person. And I remember at first when I joined the organization, I was so scared. Not because I didn't trust myself, it because of the new environment that I was going to, the new people. I don't know, I didn't know how they will treat me. The accommodation, I didn't know if I was accommodated well. But what surprises me, they made changes, especially in toilets, toilets. Though the door wasn't closing well, but the fact that they did make the change before I came was pleasing. So then they changed the door to the sliding door, and everything now is perfect. Yes, as a person who was given the opportunity to be an employee, I I I I wanted to challenge myself, to prove myself. Though I encountered some challenges, one of the challenges that I encountered was transportation. I used to push myself for about 4 kilometers to and from work because I was living in Diakonia Avenue. So I wanted to be as everyone else. Though sometimes I could come late at work, but I wasn't that much late. Yeah. But then yeah, as the journey goes, I learned, I met people, and I met such wonderful people in my drawing office because they accommodated as well, they welcome as well. Um, they assisted, even the management itself, they themselves, they assisted us so well. Even we encounter challenges, they will come to me and ask if they can help, how they can help, how can we solve this problem. And yeah, I remember one of the biggest challenge that I had as the time go on went by. I bought a car, and because I couldn't take my wheelchair in and out of the car, the security used to help me. Every morning, when I come, they will be there assisting me. And there comes another day. When I came, as usual, I'll call them, or even if I didn't call them, they'll just come. And I just saw them standing, just looking at me. And I was wondering what happened today, what's wrong. They just stood there until they call one of the employees and tell them to come to me and tell me the story. Guess what the story? The story was, we were told not to assist you anymore. Oh, wow. And I was just so surprised. And I was like, wow, what's going on? And they were told not to assist. It's disturbing their duties, all of that. And I was so, I was so drained, emotional drained at that time, and I was so worried, so scared. I remember when I get to my office, I told my colleagues, because we like family, I told my colleagues, they tell me, go and tell the manager. And when I went to the manager, he was so worried. He tried to help, he do the best that he can. But now, when he just told me, you know what, Zanele, to assist a person is in a person's heart. So right now, I'll mix up something for you. And he just told me, okay, I'll ask one of the ladies here to assist you. You can just call whenever you come to work. It was the biggest issue because I remember that at the time, um, the security guy was helping me because to I went to pay for the bills on the other building when he was just pushing me to my building. Um, he was in trouble. I had to go to this person who was in charge of the security and apologize for everything, and apologize. So now, what I discovered is that sometimes people are just being ignorant of a person's disability. And one thing I've learned is that when a person, it's depend on the person's attitude, on the personality. You cannot just say everyone is treating me bad, because I knew my management were supportive, I knew my colleagues were supportive. Yeah, but in the work-wise, they were also very supportive. I remember that there was one lady in my office who was African. So yeah, but then even the guys were supportive. Um, One of the challenges right now as you grow, as I was saying, I have a disability. Your body is changing. I mean, there's a physically change. You become weak. You get so much pain, and you have to go to see doctors, to see physios, and you utilize your sick leave. Sometimes you change it to leave. But what I discovered, as long as you are having a relationship with your superior, like telling him or her what is going on with you, it makes things much easier because he or she get to know you. I remember he sometimes jokes and say, Masithole, usugugile-ke manje, usugugile njalo nje uphethwe ibhegi. If someone is not in related to you, he cannot just joke about that. He knows what I'm going through, and I can say I'm so blessed to have such colleagues, to have such management. I will challenge uh, um, every management in each department. If there is someone who's got disability, try to make relationship with them, get to know that person, so that you won't have a problem if he or she asks for leave, for sick leave, because we encounter much problems than the other women as women with disability or the person with disability. um yeah as my journey is a very exciting, but I know, I believe that I'm next mom Kim Makatin. I believe I'm next mom Nomusa Sitole, and the best thing we're sharing the same name. Yeah, I would say to other women with disability, as challenging as it is, as sometimes you cry, and sometimes you feel you're alone, but the thing today is saying, choose to challenge yourself, see yourself somewhere, because if you don't see yourself somewhere, you're not going to go there, and there's no one who's going to see you that you're trying to go somewhere. Challenge yourself, study when the opportunities come. Be ready, study, do whatever that you can to empower yourself. If you're thinking of applying to municipality, applied. We are giving opportunities, and now there is even a disability desk. So don't look at yourself as don't look at yourself as something you cannot achieve. Anything achieve, try to achieve. Look at me today. I'm sharing a platform with such great women. That means you can also share a platform with such great people. And that's why I'm saying I believe I'm next, Mom Kim Makatini. So yeah, that's what I could say. Be yourself, trust yourself, because when God created us, He had plans for every one of us. He also have plans for you. He also have plans for me, good plans, to prosper you, not to harm you. You can be challenged for now. It's part of life. Life is very challenging for everyone. Yeah, it can be much challenging for you as a woman with disability, but see yourself somewhere. See yourself somewhere. Think of the good things that can happen to your life or in your life. Um, so I'm just grateful for today. Um, Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Zanele, wow, your confidence. What an confidence that you have. And I'd just like to say well done to the electricity management, HR, as well as her colleagues, for making sure that Uzanele doesn't feel that at times she's got limitations, but the focus that she has in the job is to deliver like anybody else. And I would also like to encourage other departments to do the same. If it happens that you do have a person with a disability in your team, Zanele is out there. You can reach her at electricity to assist. We have Usbonelo, our disability champion as well. He's always available to assist as well. We do have a PWD committee as well in the city that sits on a monthly basis to make sure that persons with disabilities issues are being discussed, but not only discussion, and to take action to solve some of the barriers that are being faced. And Uzanele just shared with us to say at electricity, they didn't only engage her, but they went further to make sure that the door, because she's on wheelchair, to make sure that the door is accessible. That's one of our strategies that we always say to land managers. If there are issues, come to our office, we'll be able to assist. If we can't, we do have a committee. We have NGOs as well that we work with that always assist us and advise us what to do in terms of universal access and accommodation issues. This is just to notice that this is our first time that we have introduced sign language interpreter, because we felt that disability inclusion is a priority for the city, and we encourage employees to attend these classes. They are being offered by EMA. If you contact EMA, they will be able to tell you when these are scheduled, and you'll be able to attend, so that if you have a colleague that you work with, even a customer for that matter, because we about service delivery, so that you'll be able to engage with a person that is deaf. So these services are available in the city. Without much further ado, I will call upon Mr. Mkize, our acting human resources head, to give us the reflection and vote of thanks. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bushi. In fact, I was actually shocked when I realized the speakers we are having today, and I'm the only male. And I realized during the course of the program that this program, we should have invited all the executives, more importantly, the males that we have in the organization. The reason why I'm saying this, they are responsible for ensuring that appointments are filled and are filled by women. They are responsible to deal with issues if anyone come to them and report about any gender inequality. The same heads of units, the deputy heads, are supposed to act on that. They are also responsible about ensuring that programs of this nature, they happen in every division, in every section, in every unit. And then, in fact, my request is that maybe when we have another session, we should ensure that all executives are also invited. My part today is to do the closure. I just want to start by thanking our acting DCM, Ukim Makatini, Obuhle, and Umfundo, to come up with such an initiative. We are having this webinar session today because of them, where they came with this initiative that let us have this discussion. Let us talk about issues that are affecting women in the workplace, even in the society as well. And then I can tell you, Buhle, it has been a success. Then I want to move on to say our portfolio chair, our councillor Ungandi Menk, our umama uXolisile Ngcobo, our CEO uZanele, ubane ngimkhohle futhi uNgcobo sengimshilo uSinethemba as well, who has been part of our program. All of you have actually learned a lot. I just want to highlight one or two areas that I feel even when we write our newsletter, we need to highlight. One, we spoke about the issues of equality, the issues of diversity. I won't forget when Umama Oraharibe spoke about the preparedness, that if you're a woman, prepare well. To me, I felt it's not only to women, I think to everyone from management positions and above, whether you are a male or you are a female. I've seen a lot of people attending meetings without any proper preparations. To me, I think that's very critical, that you end up not knowing what to say, not doing things correctly, and people will say you are acting like this because you are a woman, while it's not the case here, but it's because of you who has failed to prepare well before the start of your meeting. I think there is a lot that I myself I've learned for today. I don't want to highlight more because of the time as well, and about what has been discussed. I don't want to spoil it. I feel a lot has been achieved. I'm looking forward, that we should have similar programs even in other clusters, in departments as well, so that we can cover wider audience. There was also earlier on where we spoke about the numbers in terms of the number of women that has been engaged within Etoile municipality, that we are sitting at over 10,000 workers and all of them are women. And then we have also a good number of people with disabilities as well. Of course, we haven't achieved 2%, but we are somewhere there. I think that is also a highlight that we need to continue and talk about, so that we encourage everyone to improve. I always say, when you are saying wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo, it means you need to learn to support each other as well. In closing, I'm saying, let us work together. Let us continue and have sessions like this. It doesn't have to be a formal one, but there's nothing stopping you from calling another friend who is also a female and give him some advices. Give him as well some words of wisdom to say, how do you tackle certain situations, so that we are always learning from each other. Let me close this program to say, ngiyanibonga nonke ngesikhathi senu, your participation in today's session. Thank you very much. The session is closed. Thanks.
The program has adjourned.
No, thank you very much then.
The program has adjourned. Thank you.